Nicola Bulley Case Inquest Day 2, Update 5. 2:17 p.m. Courtroom assembling. The courtroom is assembling ahead of Dr. Adeley's verdict. Before he adjourned to consider his decision, Sophie Cartwright KC implored him on the family's behalf to record a conclusion of accidental death. 2:24 p.m. Dr. Adeley now back in court. Dr. Adeley, senior coroner for Lancashire and Blackburn with Darwen, has returned to court and begun his summing up. He opens by reminding everyone involved that the inquest is not dealing with the police operational response to Nicola's disappearance. 2:34 p.m. Timeline, coroner summary. Dr. Adeley is now summing up the evidence which has been heard over the last 2 days. This includes: Nicola was last seen alive by fellow dogwalker Claire Chesham at 9:10 a.m. At 9:18 a.m. she adjusted the volume of her conference call. PC Keith Greenhalgh examined Nicky's Fitbit device. It recorded steps in 15-minute segments. On January 27, she walked 4,548 steps between 8 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. Between 9:15 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. she walked 273 steps. No further steps after 9:30 a.m. At 9:22 a.m. the Fitbit recorded a substantially increased heart rate. Penny Fletcher arrived at the bench at 9:33 a.m. Nicola was nowhere to be seen, but Willow was found and the dog's harness was found between the bench and the river. Nicola was last seen alive at 9:10 a.m., interacted with her phone at 9:18 a.m. and Mrs. Fletcher found Willow at 9:33 a.m. This provides a maximum window of time of 15 minutes when Nicola went into the river. 2:35 p.m. Coroner's summary continued, location. Continuing to sum up the evidence, Dr. Adeley said, the river bank had an almost vertical drop. At the base a stone wall had been built to prevent further erosion, and this provided no footholds or handholds. If you fell here you would certainly enter the water. The opposite bank, 20 meters away, was also a difficult site to climb out. On January 27 the Environment Agency said the flow over the weir was 0.49 meters. When police did a reconstruction the weir height was almost half this, but even at that level it took a body over the weir. The flow on the river on the day Nicola died made it almost impossible to get out. Nicola would have been unable to reach the bottom of the river until she had travelled at least 40 meters downstream. 2 world-leading experts, Dr. Paddy Morgan and Professor Mike Tipton, said Nicola would have been overwhelmed by cold water shock after falling into the water. The water temperature was 3.6 C would have elicited a powerful response in Nicola, not related to body size but the rapid cooling of the skin. Nicola's clothing would not have slowed her response to cold water shock. 2:38 p.m. Coroner's summary, impact on Nicola's body. Dr. Adeley added, adrenaline is released immediately which can cause a person's heart to stop instantaneously. If this doesn't occur there is an overwhelming urge to gasp. If Nicola's head was underwater she could have inhaled 2 liters of water which would have been a lethal dose. There was a good chance Nicola's first breath was underwater. Even if it was above the water, if she then became submerged, an increased heart rate and blood rate would have used oxygen at a rate where she would have lost consciousness within 48 seconds. However, this was highly optimistic and it would more likely have been 30 seconds with increasingly impaired consciousness. Such was the shock of immersion Nicola would have been unable to stand up or float. She would have died before reaching the first point in the river where she could have touched the bottom. 41 p.m. Coroner's summary continued, wider circumstances. Dr. Adeley went on to say, Nikki had no alcohol in her bloodstream at the time of her death. The cause of death was drowning. The RNLI's Float to Live campaign urges people to tilt their head back, relax, try to breathe normally and spread yourself out. Such education may save the lives of other people who are unlucky enough to enter cold water. On the possible involvement of third parties, all of the witnesses who were in the area did not note anyone suspicious in the area of the field where Nicola was walking. DET Superintendent Rebecca Smith said CCTV of 3 of the 4 entry points to the field shows nobody acting unusually. CCTV from the 4th point only showed one direction, but this also showed nobody. Police contacted the owners of 700 cars which passed the road and examined dashcam footage. Nothing unusual was spotted. Dr. Aaga said there was no evidence Nicola was assaulted nor that a third party was involved. Although 2 women heard a scream, it was not of a nature which caused concern and was some distance from where Nicola was. At the time they were heard, Nicola was probably already dead. 2:44 p.m. Conclusion reached. Nicola Bulley, 45, drowned after falling into cold water, Dr. James Adeley, senior coroner for Lancashire, has concluded. 2:46 p.m. Nicola's death recorded as accidental. Nicola Bulley's death has been recorded as accidental, Dr. James Adeley, senior coroner for Lancashire, said. 2:57 p.m. Fitbit recorded significant spike in heart rate. Dr. Adeley says that the medical cause of death was drowning. He said it likely that Nicola entered the water at 9:22 a.m. when her Fitbit recorded a significant spike in her heart rate. He is unable to determine exactly why Nicola entered the water. Dr. Adeley said, on January 27 at around 9:22 a.m. Nicola Jane Bulley fell into the River Wyre and died almost immediately. 2:59 p.m. Coroner shares condolences. Experts told the hearing that entering cold water can cause a person to gasp and inhale water and drown in seconds. Dr. Adeley expressed his condolences to the family, who were present throughout the hearing in Preston.